She weaves the palm leaf into bands and then into the bow of the hat that takes a week from the leaf to the hole. Complete a thing that sits in the market on a Sunday. Price to what it costs to make a hat the right way. Hat maker, weaving all the week. Hat maker, giving what you see. Hat maker, patient with the leaf and the straw. Hat maker, making something without a flaw. Her mother taught her and her mother's mother knew the art from further back than anyone remembers. At the start of the learning, she said the palm teaches the hand, not the other way, and you begin to understand when the leaf tells your fingers where to fold and where to press, and what the hat wants to become in the right nest. She can weave in conversation and in the dark, and the hat that comes out has a particular mark of her hands in the tightness of the particular rope. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hat maker, weaving all the week. Hat maker, give it what you see. Hat maker, patient with the leaf and the straw. Hat maker, making something without a flaw. A hat is not a small thing when the sun is at its height, and the hat maker is not a small artist in the light of what good craft means and what it holds. The hat maker's art is one of the oldest. Oh, hat maker, weaving all the wheat. Hat maker, give it what you see. Hat maker, patient with the leaf and the straw. Hat maker, making something without a flaw. Oh, 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 oh. He walks the perimeter of the estate every 2 hours. Through the wet season, dry season, and whatever the sky pours. Flash laid low and boots soft on the gravel track, and the night keeps its particular secrets in the black. Night Watchman, making his rounds again. Night Watchman out in the dark and rain. Night Watchman keeping the perimeter clear. Night Watchman so the rest of us can sleep here. He's been doing this for 20 on the touching years on the same route. And he knows the sound of every dog and every sprout of unusual noise that doesn't belong to the ordinary night. And the night he has a vocabulary he reads right. He says the night is loudest before the dawn, and that is when he is most alert and most drawn into the particular tension that the ending dark requires. Cause that is when everything is balanced on the wires. Night Watchman, making his rounds again. Night Watchman out in the dark and rain. Night Watchman keeping the perimeter clear. Night Watchman so the rest of us can sleep here. We sleep because someone is awake and keeping watch. That is the oldest agreement and the oldest notch in the covenant between the community and the night. The watchman gives us dark so we can have our watchman, making his rounds again. Night Watchman out in the dark and rain. Night Watchman keeping the perimeter clear. Night Watchman so the rest of us can sleep here. Well house was the first building in the village, it is said. Built before the church, before the school, before the dead were laid in any permanent arrangement in the ground. The well house was where everything that mattered could be found. Village, well house, where the morning stars, morning star. Village, well house, opening all the hearts, water cold and clear. Well house, everything begins right here. The rising women as a king before the sun was up to fill their pails, and traded news and medicine and the particular tales of what happened out whose yard and who was not well. And the well house held the information that they tell each other in the soft light before the heat came loud. And what was shared there stayed within a particular crowd of the trusted and the knowing and the careful in their speech. The well house had its own protocol and its own reach. Village, well house, where the morning starts, morning star. Village, well house, opening all the hearts, Wabba house, water cold and clear. Ledge, well house, everything begins right here. The machete hangs on the nail above the kitchen door still. Blade darkened from a lifetime of the field and of the hill. The handle on smooth in a particular place, his grip fell. And no one takes it down, cause no one can use it as well. Grandpa's machete on the nail above the door. Grandpa's machete balanced to the core. Grandpa's machete shaped by 40 years of use. Grandpa's machete, nothing here is loose. He sharpened it on a flat stone every Saturday noon. A sound I can still hear as clearly as a tune. His careful dragging of the steel across the wet gray face of the wet stone until the edge sang in its place. He tested on a strand of hair held in the light, and if it didn't take it, chop until it might. Grandpa's machete on the nail above the door. Grandpa's machete balanced to the core. Grandpa's machete shaped by 40 years of use. Grandpa's machete, nothing here is loose. A tool shaped by one person over decades of their hand becomes an extension of a life and of the land. Nobody else can swing it quite the way he did. That particular arc is something that the blade kept hid. Grandpa's machete on the nail above the door. Grandpa's machete balanced to the core. Grandpa's machete shaped by 40 years of use. Grandpa's machete, nothing here is loose. Plum tree at the corner of the school wall drops its fruit for 3 weeks and then that's all. Till the following year, and in those 3 weeks everyone who passes underneath it gets to carry some home in their pockets, in their bags, in their hands. And the plum season is the most democratic of the island's plans. Plum season, generous and brief. Plum season, everybody's relief. Plum season, sour and sharp and true. Plum season, bringing something through. The children come with sticks to knock the higher ones down, and the fallen ones are first the act from underground. And the woman with the cart who sells them salted at the gate of the school has been there every plum season since the day. She can't remember day, and the salt she shakes on the plum in your hand is the particular taste of the season and the school and the particular afternoon when you were young and the plum tree was the moon. Plum season, generous and brief. Plum season, everybody's relief. Plum season, sour and sharp and true. Plum season, bringing something through. Every year the plum comes back, and every year you're older, but the sourness on your tongue and the feeling in your shoulder of reaching for the branch is the same as it has always been. The plum season keeps you 10 years old between. Plum season, generous and brief. Plum season, everybody's relief. Plum season, sour and sharp and true. Plum season, bringing something through. da 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 da. Oh, I've ever ended the counter where the light comes in at the slant. There's always one who'll tell you what you can and what you can't. Assume about the way the world is organized and why. And he's been sitting in that corner since you don't know when to try. Rum Shop Philosopher, holding up the wall. Rum Shop Philosopher has a word for all. Rum Shop Philosopher, sipping something neat. Rum Shop Philosopher, making wisdom eat. Woo. He never went to university and never read a degree, but he's read everything twice over that he found for free. In the library on the hill and in the papers that came through. And the life he's lived is added to the reading something true. The young men come to argue with him and they always lose. Not because he shouts, but because he always seems to choose the question rather than the answer. And the question lands in a place you weren't expecting. And you understand less than you did before and more than you'd have guessed. And Rum Shop Philosopher, holding up the wall. Rum Shop Philosopher has a word for all. Rum Shop Philosopher, sipping something neat. Rum Shop Philosopher, making wisdom eat. Every community has its own pet thinker in the corner, who holds the thread of the longer view when the shorter are. News of what is happening beneath the surface of the day. And the Rum Shop Philosopher is earning every word he'll say. Rum Shop Philosopher, holding up the wall. Rum Shop Philosopher has a word for all. Rum Shop Philosopher, sipping something neat. Rum Shop Philosopher, making wisdom meet. When the power went off for the generator days, we'd sit in the yard under the stars in the haze of kerosene conversation. And whoever had a story would hold the circle with whatever they could bring in gory. Storytelling night under the open sky. Storytelling night, nobody asking why. Storytelling night, voices in the dark. Storytelling night, carrying every spark. Oh, wow. Uncle Conrad had a story for each child by name, a personalized adventure where the hero was the same name as whoever asked, and the whole yard leaned in to hear their own tale with a grin. My grandmother's stories always had a lesson that the ghost blamed, but the lesson came so naturally that nobody supposed them were being taught. They just felt the satisfaction of a story ending in the right and satisfying action. Storytelling night under the open sky. Storytelling night, nobody asking why. Storytelling night, voices in the dark. Storytelling night, carrying every spark. Oh, wow. Before the screen there was the voice, and before the voice was out, the circle was the classroom, and the story was the route to every kind of knowledge that a person needs to hold. The storytelling night was how the young were made bold. Storytelling night under the open sky. Storytelling night, nobody asking why. Storytelling night, voices in the dark. Storytelling night, carrying every spark. There is no sound in this world like the rain on a tin roof. Percussion so particular, it puts you beyond proof of anything requiring thought or decision or word. Just the rain in the tin and you and what you heard. Tin roof rain, playing through the night. Tin roof rain, everything is right. Tin roof rain, the oldest lullaby. Tin roof rain beneath the island sky. I have slept under concrete since I left the old house, and the silence of the modern roof is loud as a mouse. In the wrong direction, quiet where the sound should be, of the particular drumming that the tin gave me. and said, do you remember how it felt to fall asleep with that sound? I said I do, and that I've never found anything that replaces it, and I don't expect a tin gig. Tin roof rain, playing through the night. Tin roof rain, everything is right. Tin roof rain, the oldest lullaby. Tin roof rain beneath the island sky. Some sounds become the sound of safety early in the life, and stay that way through everything, including strife. The tin roof in the rain is safety, it is home. It is the sound of being held and not being alone. Tin roof rain, playing through the night. Tin roof rain, everything is right. Tin roof rain, the oldest lullaby. Tin roof rain beneath the island sky. The seawall was built in the year of the worst hurricane, when the ocean took free streets and nobody wanted that again. They laid the stone by hand and poured the concrete in the gap, and the wall has held everything since then on the map. Seawall standing between us and the tide. Seawall, everything we built behind. Seawall made by hands we'll never know. Seawall holding what we couldn't let go. Now the fishermen sit on its top in the afternoon with their lines, and read the water below like a book full of signs. The children dare each other to walk its narrow spine, and the old woman sells snow cones from the step at 9. Every morning, rain or shine, she's been there 40 years, and the seawall is the address where the neighborhood appears for whatever it needs, an audience or a witness or a view. The seawall is the place that holds the whole community true. Seawall standing between us and the tide. Seawall, everything we built behind. Seawall made by hands we'll never know. Seawall holding what we couldn't let go. Some things get built out of pure necessity and fear, and become the most beloved landmark of the year. The seawall was defense that became a gathering place, and the ocean on one side and the town on the other face. Seawall standing between us and the tide. Seawall, everything we built behind. Seawall made by hands we'll never know. Seawall holding what we couldn't let go. Cracked along the old fence line for weeks, and the reservoir at the top of the hill was at the creeks of empty, and the cattle had been moved to the lower field, and the whole landscape was waiting for the yield of the first crop that came with something real inside. And then the afternoon turned purple and the sky opened wide. Return of the rain, filling up the land. Return of the rain, nobody had to plan. Return of the rains, coming on their own. Return of the rain, making everything known. Our lands defer first smell of it reached us before the first drop fell. The children in the yard turned to face the smell, like a collective turning of the whole neighborhood toward something they had been promised and the sky had stored. And then it came, and the sound of it was so complete that nobody was moving and nobody moved their feet for the first minute, just standing in the open, receiving the return of the rains as an act of believing. Return of the rains, filling up the land. Return of the rains, nobody had to plan. Return of the rains, coming on their own. Return of the rains, making everything known. Yeah. There are things you cannot force and things you cannot plan away. And the rain returning in its own time, on its own day, is the most persuasive argument for humility. I know some things come when they come, and the rest is just the show. Return of the rains, filling up the land. Return of the rains, nobody had to plan. Return of the rains, coming on their own. Return of the rains, making everything known. October planting seed into the ground. October planting circle coming round. October planting faith before the proof. October planting under the same roof. October spill it down and seed the seed and hold it through the growing weeks. This is what the farmer's calendar speaks. In copper planting seed into the ground. October planting circle coming around. October planting faith before the proof. October planting under the same roof. And Papa planting seed into the common Stamford night. Father would bless the seed before it left his hand. A word said low between his lips and the land, that had no particular form but always the same intention. That's what he planted would be met with the earth's attention. He didn't call it prayer, he just called it the right way of starting anything that you wanna last beyond the day. October planting seed into the ground. October planting circle coming round. October planting faith before the proof. October planting under the same roof. Planting is the most optimistic act a person does. It says, I believe in the future, cause I am putting something living in the ground today, and trusting that the world will hold it on its way. October planting seed into the ground. October planting circle coming round. October planting faith before the proof. October planting under the same roof. Ooh. Everyone takes the main road, but I know the back way through. Up behind the cemetery and past the morning dew. On the guinea grass and through the gap in the broken fence, and out the other side where the whole world feels less intense. Back road, shorter than the map would say. Back road, only the locals know the way. Back road, through the gap and through the hill. Back road, carrying something better still. There is a whole geography of the place you're from that the official map will never show you some. My uncle showed me every back road in this parish when I was 9, riding on the crossbar, and then again at 12, and then at 15 on my own. And by then the back roads were as certain as the bone in my direction sense, and I could find my way through every shortcut in the district any time of day. The back road is a kind of knowledge that you carry, not on paper but in the body, and it doesn't vary. Back road, shorter than the map would say. Back road, only the locals know the way. Back road, through the gap and through the hill. Back road, carrying something better still. There is a whole geography of the place you're from that the official map will never show you some of the most essential roots are the ones that live in the feet of the people who have walked them every week. Back road, shorter than the map would say. Back road, only the locals know the way. Back road, through the gap and through the hill. Back road, carrying something better still. An empty lot between the hardware store and the old wall. Sat there full of rubble for a decade and that's all. Until Miss Vera brought her for one Tuesday in July and started turning soil without explaining the reason why. By Thursday, 4 more people from the block had come to dig, and by the weekend, it was something altogether big. Community garden growing in the gap. Community garden, nobody reads the map. Community garden, everybody's round. Community garden, the best thing around. In the nation, no one is in charge and no one holds the leash on any rope. But everybody understands whose peppers and whose rolls go. Where the light is best and where the shade falls in the afternoon. And the whole thing runs on courtesy like a particular tune that everyone already knows and no one had to teach. The community garden operates just out of reach of all the rules that other places need to function, and runs on something older at a deeper junction. Community garden growing in the gap. Community garden, nobody reads the map. Community garden, everybody's round. Community garden, the best thing around. Give people a piece of earth and step back and watch what they build when nobody is keeping the notch of performance or of productivity or of a gain. Just the growing and the sharing in the sun and in the rain. Community garden growing in the gap. Community garden, nobody reads the map. Community garden, everybody's round. Community garden, the best thing around. Whoa, whoa, community garden. Whoa, whoa. The lighthouse at the northern point has kept its light for 100 years. Through every storm and season and the ordinary fears of the shipping lanes in winter, when the fog sits thick and low, and only the turning of the beam tells anyone where to go. Lighthouse Keeper, turning through the night. Lighthouse Keeper, making sure the light never fails the ones who need it on the water and the sea. Lighthouse Keeper, that is all you have to be. On the lightens to chalk the keeper before the current one is carved into the wall of the keeper's room in the tower. And his particular call was 35th 30 LA years of climbing to the lamp at dusk and winding down at dawn and doing what he must to keep the mechanism clean and the lens intact. 10 and 30 stiff turns, yes, the light stayed lit, and that's the fact. Lighthouse Keeper, turning through the night. Lighthouse Keeper, making sure the light never fails the ones who need it on the water and the sea. Lighthouse Keeper, that is all you have to be. The light does not ask who is grateful and who is not. It turns because the keeper keeps the turning and the slide of every mechanism, oil and in its place. And the sea below receives the light with its particular grace. Lighthouse Keeper, turning through the night. Lighthouse Keeper, making sure the light never fails the ones who need it on the water and the sea. Lighthouse Keeper, that is all you have to be. Lighthouse Keeper. Coral Reef Morning, open in the eye. Coral Reef Morning, underneath the sky. Coral Reef Morning, older than the town. Coral Reef Morning, to the whole world upside down. In the morning, open in the eye. Coral Reef Morning, underneath the sky. And Coral Reef Morning, older than the town. Coral Reef Morning, open in the eye. Coral Reef Morning, underneath the sky. Coral Reef Morning, older than the town. Go underneath the eye, go underneath the eye, go underneath the eye, go underneath the eye. My cousin learned to dive here in the summer of her 10th year. She'd go under and stay until her father started to fear, and then come up with something in her hand that she had found. A shell, a piece of coral, or a stone on the ground of the reef that she considered worth the bringing back. She said the reef was a city and she knew every track and passes through it by the color and the shape, and that down there was the only place she could escape. Coral Reef Morning, open in the eye. Coral Reef Morning, underneath the sky. Coral Reef Morning, older than the town. Coral Reef Morning, turn the whole world upside down. The reef has been here building since before our names, and it will be here building long past our claims. To the shore above it and the boats to pass, and the word of whatever we built here that the water hasn't heard. Coral Reef Morning, open in the eye. Coral Reef Morning, underneath the sky. Coral Reef Morning, older than the town. Coral Reef Morning, turn the whole world upside down. The Ackee Tree behind the house was older than the house. It stood there in the yard, as quiet as a mouse, but loud in August when the pods split open red and white and showed the yellow flesh within and the black seed inside. Ackee Tree, giving what the morning needs. Ackee Tree, patient while the family feeds. Ackee Tree, red pot split in the heat. Ackee Tree, breakfast on the street. You cannot larry Ackee, you cannot force the split. Wide opens when it opens, and the gift is only ready when the tree has said it so. Open too soon and the Ackee will lay you low. My grandmother knew by the color at the edge of the seam exactly which ones were ready, and the whole thing was a dream. Well, the fish to see the way she pick and sort and prep and have it in the pan before the householder taking a step. Ackee Tree, giving what the morning needs. Ackee Tree, Patient while the family feeds. Ackee Tree, bread pot split in a heat. Ackee Tree, breakfast on the street. A gift that comes with conditions, teaches patience and respect. You cannot take more than is ready and expect to come to no harm from the taking out of time. The Ackee and the patience and the morning are the right. Ackee Tree, giving what the morning needs. Ackee Tree, patient while the family feeds. Ackee Tree, bread pot split in a heat. Ackee Tree, breakfast on the street. The Ackee. At 2 in the morning, when the street is still in sleeping, the baker lights the oven and begins his faithful keeping of the timing that the dough requires and the heat that will turn the flour and the water into something sweet. Baker before dawn, working in the dark. Baker before dawn, carrying the spark. Baker before dawn, so the rest can rise. Baker before dawn, with the morning supplies. By the time the town wakes up, his first batch has been down an hour, and the smell of it comes down the street with a particular power that pulls the early risers toward the narrow door, where he stands and passes out the warm bread from the floor. He never takes a day and never calls the morning hard. He says the rising of the bread and the rising of the yard are the same process, and both of them require the patient tending of a carefully managed fire. Oh, baker before dawn, working in the dark. Baker before dawn, carrying the spark. Baker before dawn, so the rest can rise. Baker before dawn, with the morning supplies. Every community is held up by the ones who work before the others open eyes and never shirk from the ordinary labor that the morning needs to start. The baker in the dark is the quiet beating heart. Baker before dawn, working in the dark. Baker before dawn, carrying the spark. Baker before dawn, so the rest can rise. Baker before dawn, with the morning supplies. My father cut cane for 11 years before the estate closed. He came home on Friday smelling of that particular dose of sweetness and of sweat of the soil in the fibers of the cane and of the particular work requires a body over years to move his 16 his own particular lean, and his hands were the hands of someone who has been Canecutter son, watching from the road. Canecutter son, understanding every load. Canecutter son, this is where I come from. Canecutter son, beneath this island sun. Oh, oh, oh. He never wanted me to follow him into the field. He said the spoon was the crop with the best yield, and whatever it takes to get the boy his certificate was worth the rising before dawn and the late night ache in both shoulders from the bait and the swing. He said a son who learns is the best possible thing a father can grow from whatever his body finds, and the cane was just the means, not the end of our kind. Canecutter son, watching from the road. Canecutter son, understanding every load. Canecutter son, this is where I come from. Canecutter son, beneath this island sun. Oh, oh, oh. I carry him in the way I work, whatever work I do. Oh, the particular care and the patience he brought through. 11 years of cane into the way I hold a task. That is the inheritance nobody had to ask. Canecutter's son, watching from the road. Canecutter's son, understanding every load. Canecutter's son, this is where I come from. Canecutter's son, beneath this silent sun. Oh, oh, oh. They meet on the last Saturday of every month at the park, sitting up before the sun is down and staying past the dark. Each one brings their own drum and no one is the leader. And the circle builds its rhythm from each particular feeder of a beat that finds the others and the others find it back. And something moves between them that no one needs to track. Drum circle under the night and open sky. Drum circle, nobody needs to ask why. Drum circle, finding the common beat. Drum circle where the separate rhythms meet. Menunus de Vector. My daughter came the first time, skeptical and quiet, and sat outside the ring, but by the third night had moved inside and had her palms against the borrowed skin, and was part of something she had always carried within. She said the sound of many people keeping time together makes you feel that you could get through any kind of weather. That something in the shared percussion is the kind of saying we are here together and the world is worth us staying. Drum circle under the night and open sky. Drum circle, nobody needs to ask why. Drum circle, finding the common beat. Drum circle where the separate rhythms meet. The first instrument was always the body in the hand, and the drum circle goes back before the first plan. Community or building or agreement among the rest. The people is how we told each other we were blessed. Drum circle under the night and open sky. Drum circle, nobody needs to ask why. Drum circle, finding the common beat. Drum circle where the separate rhythms meet. She pushes the cart from 5 miles out to make the market time. The wheels need oiling and the cart lifts to one side, but that's fine. It has made this journey since before her mother handed it to her with the scale and the sharp knife that comes with it. Mango vendor's cart rolling through the morning. Mango vendor's car, giving everyone warning that the sweetest thing in season is arriving on the road. Mango vendor's car, carrying its golden load. She knows the mango varieties the way a scholar knows. Her subject and the telling of them freely flows from her as she places each one in your hand for you to smell, and makes you understand the difference in how to tell the Julie from the East Indian and the Bombay from the rest, and which one is the sweetest and which one suits your taste best. Mango vendor's cart rolling through the morning. Mango vendor's cart, giving everyone a warning that the sweetest thing in season is arriving on the road. Mango vendor's cart, carrying its golden load. She will not sell you one that isn't ready, and she'll tell you plain what you're reaching for needs 2 more days of rain and sun before it's worth the price and worth the bite. Because her name is on the mango, and her name means right. Mango vendor's car rolling through the morning. Mango vendor's car giving everyone a warning that the sweetest thing in season is arriving on the road. Mango vendor's car carrying its golden load. She's at the market before the vendors are at the market, before the stalls are set and before the daylight sparks it. Into the commerce of the morning, she is there, choosing the produce at its freshest in the air. Before the sun has touched it and before the flies have found the sweetest parts, and the prices are still at the morning sound. Morning market woman, first one through the gate. Morning market woman, never running late. Morning market woman knows where the good things are. Morning market woman, following her star. She buys for 3 households and a school lunch program too, and stretches what the budget is into something true to what the families need rather than what they want. And a knowledge of the seasonal is the fun from which she draws the planning of the week's nutrition, buying what is plentiful and in its best position in the cycle of the growing and the pricing, and feeding 30 people without compromising. Morning market woman, first one through the gate. Morning market woman, never running late. Morning market woman knows where the good things are. Morning market woman, following her star. The invisible labor of the person who feeds the rest is the most essential work and deserves the best recognition that a community can give, 'cause feeding people is the first reason to live. Morning market woman, first one through the gate. Morning market woman, never running late. Morning market woman knows where the good things are. Morning market woman, following her. She takes the handover at 11 on the ward and checks each chart and faced with nothing but regard for what the night ahead will need from her hands and feet, and a particular attention of the midnight beat. Nurse on night duty, walking through the dark. Nurse on night duty, carrying the spark. Nurse on night duty, when the rest is still. Nurse on night duty, moving with the will. She from the village on the east end of the island, and came to the city to study and to find land in a profession that her grandmother had pointed to when she was 9, and her grandmother said, "You have the kind of hands to notice what is wrong, and the kind of patience that the suffering holds long in their memory." And so she went to learn it right and gave her hands to 30 years of night. Nurse on night duty, walking through the dark. Nurse on night duty, carrying the spark. Nurse on night duty, when the rest is still. Nurse on night duty, moving with the will. The night shift is where medicine becomes purely care, where the technology is not as present as the air of one person staying awake so another can rest. And the nurse on night duty gives her best. Nurse on night duty walking through the dark. Nurse on night duty carrying the spark. Nurse on night duty when the rest is still. Nurse on night duty moving with the will. Bridge coming to hustle, but over the river has been there since the turn of the century before the last. And people always learn its name before they learn the river's name below, because the bridge is what you cross, not what you know. By looking at from far away with admiration, the bridge is functional, and that is its foundation. Old bridge carrying us across. Old bridge worth whatever is the cost. Old bridge where the water's high or low. Old bridge, this is how we come and go. Oh, and together, the bridge has a particular sound when a truck goes over it. A low groan in the concrete and the metal that will sit in my memory, alongside the smell of river water and the way the railing rusted on the south side and the quarter. Circle where it meets the road, had grass growing through all the small details of a crossing that you knew so well. You stopped seeing it as a structure and instead it became the space between two places in your head. Old bridge carrying us across. Old bridge worth whatever is the cost. Old bridge where the water's high and low. Old bridge, this is how we come and go. Oh, oh. There are bridges in every life that you cross. So many times you forget they are bridges and forget the water climbs below them. And the only time you notice them at all is when they close for work and you have to take the longer haul. Old bridge carrying us across. Old bridge worth whatever is the cost. Old bridge where the water's high or low. Old bridge, this is how we come and go. Took out the beach when I was 17, and the fishing village became something in between. What it was and what the new money wanted it to be, and the fishermen who remain were caught in the debris of that particular change. It comes without a vote that trades the nets in the morning for the tourist boat. Old fishing village, holding what remains. Old fishing village, through the games and plays. Old fishing village, morning on the shore. Old fishing village, this is what we're for. I feel this old man Desmond still goes out of free regardless, 'cause the sea is his and always was, and the sharpness of the morning air before the visitors are awake is the only time the coast gives back what the developers take. His grandson goes with him now and learns the reading of the swell and the names of the old fishing grounds that the elders knew so well. Old fishing village, holding what remains. Old fishing village, through the gains and pains. Old fishing village, morning on the shore. Old fishing village, this is what we're for. A place that sells its waterfront will always keep the water, and the water will remember every son and every daughter of the ones who worked it first before the money made the price. And the sea keeps no account of who owns what and who paid twice. Old fishing village, holding what remains. Old fishing village, through the gains and pains. Old fishing village, this is what we're for. He has a line with every color in the back and some amount. And he'll mix you what you cannot name, but only describe the count of what you picture when you close your eyes and try to see the particular blue of the morning or the green of the sea. And noon of the yellow that your grandmother had on the gate. He'll mix it and he'll match it and the result will be great. Painter of houses, color in his hand. Painter of houses helps the house to stand out from the ordinary of the road and the square. And painter of houses, putting color everywhere. He says a house tells you who lives there by the shade they choose, because the color of the paint is how we've made a claim upon a space that says this is ours, and this is what we value and admire and what we'll miss if it's taken. And so the yellow house on the hill has been yellow since the family came, and is yellow still, cause yellow is what they are, and the painter knows that his job is to keep the color that the family chose. Painter of houses, color in his hand. Painter of houses helps the house to stand out from the ordinary of the road and the square. And painter of houses, putting color everywhere. Community is a community in pain, and the painter is the one who brings the joy again. With a bucket and a brush and the willingness to climb and make the neighborhood as beautiful as time. Painter of houses, color in his hand. Painter of houses helps the house to stand out from the ordinary of the road and the square. Painter of houses, putting color everywhere. She ran the post office for 30 years at the top of the square, and I knew every address in the district off the top of her hair, which she kept in the same way every working day, because the post office required consistency, she say. Postmistress, keeping all the lines of the town. Postmistress, never letting anything down. Postmistress, every parcel in every name. Postmistress, the whole community's claim. When the mail came on the truck, she sorted by street, not by the house number, but what she'd need. Walking the delivery herself on Tuesdays, rain or sun, she knew which letter would be welcome and which one would require the person to be sitting down to open. And she sometimes stayed to make sure they were coping. She never read a letter, but she always somehow knew what kind of news a particular envelope would bring through. Postmistress, keeping all the lines of the town. Postmistress, never letting anything down. Postmistress, every parcel in every name. Postmistress, the whole community's claim. Information is a kind of power, and she held it with a care that made the whole town trust and build it into her position, something more than the government. She was the postmistress, and the post was her covenant. Postmistress, keeping all the lines of the town. Postmistress, never letting anything down. Postmistress, every parcel in every name. Postmistress, the whole community's claim. All communities. Nothing moves in the valley between 12 and 2. The heat sits on the whole landscape like something that's true and absolute and immovable. And the cattle stand in the shade of the single silk by Ackee Tree on the land valley at noon. Everything is still. Valley at noon, workers eat their lunch in whatever shade they find. The wall, a tree, the shadow of the machinery behind. Then the conversation drops to something near a murmur, and the whole valley suspends itself in the particular shimmer of heat that makes the far fence look like water. And the air above the road becomes a liquid border between the morning's work and whatever comes after too. When the heat breaks slightly and the valley comes back through valley at noon, everything is still. Valley at noon, everything is filled with the weight of the afternoon pressing down. Valley at noon, the quietest part of town. Every landscape needs its pause, and every worker needs the rest. The noon is not a nothing, it is the valley's breath. Between the effort of the morning and the push of afternoon, the valley at noon is the body finding its own tune. Valley at noon, everything is still.